Energized Show, up the Irish.
Okay, what's going on, guys? Welcome to a brand new episode of Energized, brought to you by Our King's Competitions. Ross,
are you intoxicated or something?
How are you doing, bud?
I'm doing fantastic, bud. I'm doing fantastic. There's a lot to get through on today's show, so we figured out we just do the two of us, and we lash through what is going on in the world of combat sports this week and last weekend. It was action-packed, but Basmo, the big thing going down this weekend is Netflix are entering the world of combat sports, and they're bringing to us Mike Tyson versus Jake Paul. If I'd said to you in 2020, when Jake Paul was making videos with his brother, dancing around, doing diss tracks, that Jake Paul was going to box Mike Tyson in 2025, on a scale of 1 to 100, how believable would you have felt that would have been?
Oh, well, there is more like freak show fights going on these days. So I actually don't know. Like I'd be like asking like what weight, because he's like more of a middleweight, and like obviously Mike Tyson's a heavyweight. But this fight is obviously
okay. Well, if I told you Jake Paul has already beaten Nate Diaz, Anderson Silva, and Tyron Woodley in a fight, how believable would you say that would have been?
No, you see, I didn't think Jake actually had that in him. I think when it was coming to the Ben Askren fight, I actually sort of favored him, and then
like he actually has better, like in terms of boxing, like obviously it's different than May, but like the names recognition he has on that is like absolutely frightening, isn't it?
Yeah. Do you know what? In fairness to him, he is an absolute trailblazer now, and also what he's doing for boxing as well. Like all these other organizations that started up. Remember, there's a Misfits. What's the one that was in the 3 Arena?
UCC? No,
I
think that's a smaller one.
No, the one Keeper was
on. Kingpin.
Yeah, like all these like they're all like branched out from what Jake Paul's done. The way he's getting Mano Serrano and Katie Taylor, like a lot of like a lot of eyeballs. Like this fight is going to be in the AT&T Stadium in Texas, 80,000 seater. As I said, live on Netflix, free on Netflix on Friday night. Make sure to tune in, even if you don't want to watch Mike Tyson against Jake Paul. You do want to be watching Katie Taylor against Amanda Serrano too, because the last time these two fought, it was like one of the greatest fights I've ever seen. It was definitely one of the greatest fights that was ever held in Madison Square Garden.
Yeah, but it's going to be an absolutely insane night, and it's going to be massive production. I'm going to be very interested to see like what the broadcast is like, what the production is like. Look, I know they've done, I think, 1 or 2 random tennis matches and stuff for Netflix. But I'll be very interested to see how they fare with combat sports, as well as that. I don't know if you know this, Baz. Monday Night Raw in 2025 is moving to Netflix. Now, I don't know if it's actually going to be on Mondays anymore, but like they are moving to Netflix. So it's going to be very interesting to see. I assume that's going to be live as well. Like they're obviously testing the waters, and obviously.
Just before you move on, did you watch the Vince McMahon documentary on Netflix?
Yeah, I did, but I was sort of.
I thought it was deadly.
I was sort of watching it under like false pretenses that like all the allegations were from the start, as opposed to like at the very end they sort of added some footage in. I thought it was very, very interesting, but I thought for me the star of the show was Paul Heyman when he was like,
no, Hulk Hogan. I actually found out I have the same birthday as Hulk Hogan. I'm older now. Yeah, I did have the bugs. I'm actually older, but we have the same date.
Yeah, and he has a better mustache. But
yeah, brother.
Yeah, brother. Yeah, that's absolutely insane. But
he's a documentary coming out soon as well. That's going to be epic.
Just to see how like I don't know what the like indebted to the world of wrestling Vince McMahon sees himself. Like, you know what I mean, he puts wrestling over everything, which is absolutely insane. Yeah. But like obviously he absolutely like changed wrestling forever, and like he created so many massive opportunities for so many people. Like regardless of what he seems to be accused of doing in his personal life, you know what I mean, like his stamp that he's left on the wrestling industry, it will never be forgotten. Like you can't talk about professional wrestling without talking about Vince McMahon. So Yeah, Jesus, it's a wild documentary. He's got some delusional ideas, but he is a very eccentric character. And now I think Triple H runs the wrestling side of the business now.
Yeah.
And,
I don't really follow wrestling. Like you see clips the odd time, but like I don't actually follow the stories now. I don't think the actual performers these days are like they're all sort of seem the same. Whereas back in the day with like the Undertakers and everyone, they seem more.
Yeah, but I also feel like you can't really do a supernatural powers character anymore because people are like that's not real, if that makes sense. So you sort of have to. I think you just come up with a catchphrase now, and if your catchphrase catches fire, well then like you're good to go.
Yeah, I saw you about that Uzo guy, and they're like pumping around. But I mean, look, if people enjoy it, people enjoy it. But like, I mean, you can't really beat the entertainment that the UFC brings. Like when they roll out the big stars as well.
Yeah, like it's definitely something that it seems harder to become the next Stone Cold type of thing as it was previously. But look, it is what it is. But more so, the point of that conversation was,
what was the point, Ross?
They are coming to Netflix now, so and they are also owned by the same company, TKO Holdings, who own the UFC. So it'll be interesting to see, would UFC consider some sort of broadcast deal with Netflix going forward, or some sort of subscription partner? It will be interesting to see. I know they have UFC Fight Pass already; they have their own subscription service, but it will be interesting to see whether Netflix would be interested in that. Maybe 2 Netflix pay-per-views a year, something like that, to kick off. Who knows?
I'd say that could definitely happen because you'd obviously want the whole family under the one umbrella.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, we'll see how it happens. I know WWE like view Raw, SmackDown, and NXT as like different shows, if that makes sense, because like they're all on different networks, which is smart to give to be selling the same product as 3 different products. Definitely makes more money. But
so you're saying we could eventually be on Netflix as well.
That's it. You're gonna get the Energized Show on Netflix. You better believe it. Yeah, but obviously, just in terms of the actual boxing itself, Katie Taylor, Amanda Serrano 2. The first one was a really close fight. Katie Taylor getting her hand raised. Look, I expect her to get her hand raised this time out again. I think she is better than Amanda Serrano. I think she's also stronger than Amanda Serrano. But fair play to Serrano for taking the fight. And again, like just groundbreaking stuff from Katie Taylor. Again, like I'm sure this is going to be one of the most attended boxing events of all time, and she's going to be part of that history. And she also adds quite a lot of legitimacy to the Paul Tyson fight by fighting on this card as well.
Yeah, I agree. I'm anytime I watch Katie Taylor fight, I get really nervous. And it's
she's one of the few people who does that to me.
Yeah, it's a great feeling, especially when she wins, because you feel like you know her, and like obviously we've been following her since her amateur days winning gold for Ireland. And for people that aren't from Ireland, like if anyone wins gold in the Olympics for Ireland, they'd become like royalty in the country.
Yeah, but you feel like you're in the ring with her in some weird regard, which is like doesn't happen with many. So you're emotionally connected to the win or loss one way or the other.
No, it's a great feeling.
Yeah, absolutely. And tell me this, Baz. Paul versus Tyson. Are you doubting Jake Paul anymore, or do you think he's bitten off more than he can chew? Excuse the pun.
No, do you know what? Like the thing is, the way Jake Paul got a lot of hate when he first started doing this, and people saying it wasn't really boxing and stuff. But like we see white collar boxing events go all over Ireland, like people doing novice fights in MMA and like who, like maybe if there's videos back, I was probably like. I don't know if I was really hating, because like that wouldn't really be my agenda, but people were being like, that's not real boxing, because like he was getting massive views, and some people who were way more experienced, way better at fighting, were getting less attention. So you can understand like the bitterness. It's sort of like, say if some big name started a podcast tomorrow and they got a massive amount of views in Ireland, and then like why would like you just have to accept that people have their audiences. But he's like putting in the work, and like anyone who puts the work into anything deserves what they get out of it. So like we see people in the country grafting away, like even the likes of Amy Scully, who we'll get into later, winning gold for Ireland in the IMAS. Like I remember, say about 6 months ago, I shouted her out on the show being like, if you want to watch someone who puts out great content and as a fighter, it's Amy Scully. And then like she's walking the walk, talking the talk, and creating the content to back it up. She's creating world class content and is a world champion as well. So that's great to see. But no, I think what Jake's doing is actually like you can't doubt him. Like even what Logan Paul's doing in WWE as well. Like he's absolutely killing it as well. But no, I think what Jake's doing is he's gone all in on it. And if anyone's going all in on something, like we're going all in on this, and like we're doing this now 9 years, and look, you have to just commend him. And he's taking big fights. And he lost to Tommy Fury, but like I don't think you can hate on the way he fought like Tyron Woodley, former UFC world champion, Nate Diaz, Ben Askren. Who else did he fight? I know he lost to Tommy Fury, but like Anderson Silva. Like, I mean, how can you hate on a guy who goes in and fights these people? Like, I know, yes, they're not quote unquote boxers, but like
yeah, we wouldn't see me signing up to box them.
Yeah, they're not like the absolute like schmucks. Yeah. Like Anderson Silva had fought a few boxing matches as well. Now, with this one, like, look, if Netflix are going to put something out there, it has to be big, and like nothing's bigger than Mike Tyson's name. And then Jake Paul brings his own audience as well. Has Jake bitten off more than he can chew? We will find out on Friday. I think Mike Tyson will win this, but I don't know what would happen if this fight goes beyond a few rounds. Like, how much cardio does Tyson have in the tank? Because we've seen videos of him over the last couple of years. I think he's 58. I'd have to double check that. Like he wasn't looking great for a while. He's looking a bit better now because obviously he's jumping into camp here, and like it's at heavyweight. It obviously favors Tyson more because like Jake doesn't look that great with all that weight on him. So like how will Jake operate with that weight added on as well? Because even 10 pounds is a lot. So I just hope that this is like a legitimate fight, that there's nothing in a contract that you have to let Jake get out round 1, round 2. I doubt that's going to happen, but I just think Mike Tyson will win, but I'm not sure how. And the last thing I want to see is Jake knocking out Mike Tyson. No hating, but just sort of like people will look at the fight then and be like, why was this even a fight?
Yeah, but you don't want that to be the last thing Mike Tyson's ever remembered for in a boxing ring.
Yeah.
So yeah, look, I think I'm going to say Mike Tyson's going to win as well. I think the last time Jake Paul fought a boxer, someone who like predominantly boxed, was Tommy Fury. And do I think Tommy Fury could lace up Mike Tyson's gloves? Absolutely not. Like, I know Mike Tyson's obviously a lot older, but like obviously that shot selection and that like in-ring IQ, I think Tyson's going to be too much for him. And I think Tyson in the first 2 rounds going to get the job done.
Do you see a lot of the media has sort of been like Jake is going to win? So I think that's getting put out there just so people will actually tune in. Because if everyone was like, oh, Mike Tyson's just going to dust them, then people aren't really going to tune in. But because people are saying, oh, Jake Paul's going to win, they're like, what? I might actually have to watch this, you know?
Yeah.
The media agenda, Ross.
The media agenda.
So we're basically saying, you know, you can turn it off after Katie's fight because Tyson's definitely going to win. But I'm still going to tune in.
No, I have to watch both.
Oh, you have to. Like,
it's a spectacle. It's a spectacle.
Yeah, that's the thing. That is the thing. It is a spectacle. So
and Tyson's won the goat, or Tyson's won the goats. You know what I mean? So like, like regardless if he's past his prime, obviously he's way past his prime, but like you still have to watch that man. Like he's must see TV. But then speaking of goats, UFC 309, Basmo.
UFC 309. That's the thing. Friday night, Netflix. Saturday night,
UFC live from the Mecca, Madison Square Garden. Johnny Bones Jones fights the heavyweight goat in Stipe Miocic. The winner's walking out. The goat. Look, I think it's probably not the fight people want to see. I feel like more and more the fans are clamoring to see Jones versus Aspinall.
Let me ask you this, right? Do you think because Miocic hasn't fought since, was it Ngannou?
I think so, yeah.
And like that was,
I think it's been 4 years. Like,
yeah, like, but if you think about it now, the size of the UFC, how much it's grown over the last 4 years, I don't think a lot of people even know Miocic is. Like, I was looking there, Miocic is 42. Hasn't fought in 4 years. And like, I think the way all media gets hyped as well, like there's a lot of like UK shows that are like get Aspinall on, pushing Aspinall a lot. Whereas like nobody is in Cleveland doing a show promoting Miocic, being like, get him on. Like I even saw Miocic was on Jake Paul's podcast, and like that did nothing. Like that, like they're actually like Jake Paul's actually from Cleveland as well. But I think it's just more people are just pushing Aspinall because he's obviously like a great lad. He's cool crack, and because Dana won't make that fight, people are pushing it more. You know.
Yeah, but like last time Stipe Miocic fought was UFC 260, and UFC 261 was Usman Masvidal 2. So like that just goes to show how like long ago that was. Like Masvidal was fighting for the belt still. Like we've had Leon Edwards beat Usman twice, and then Bilal Muhammad beat Edwards since then. So like it just goes to show how long it's been since Stipe's been in that cage. And I just feel like
was this fight originally on? Was this fight rearranged?
No, I think it's just been like announced that that's the next fight, but it was never given a date.
Okay, yeah.
And look, on top of that, also like in that time, like since Stipe Miocic's last fight, like look at what Tom Aspinall's done. He holds the record for the like shortest time spent in the octagon. Like his fights are lasting on average 2 minutes. He has knocked down like every fighter he's ever fought. I think he's got like something like 8 of his last 9 fights have been finished in the first round. Like this man is absolutely pulverizing people, and people who like are scary, like
Pavlovich.
the likes of Pavlovich, Curtis Blades. Like he is absolutely going through these guys. Like he's having like Cyril Gane like turn down a fight to do a movie instead. I haven't seen that movie, so like obviously it wasn't that good. And like people are actually like don't want to fight Tom Aspinall. And it looks like you can add John Jones to that list. I know John Jones said like, oh well, people thought Johnny Walker was going to beat me, and look how that's turned out. And he said that like Tom Aspinall hasn't really garnered that much name recognition yet, etc., etc. But like, I think at the end of the day, like maybe should do the Stipe fight, but like that's fine. But obviously it's happening like next week or this weekend. So it's obviously happening, but just to like be disregarding any future fights with Tom Aspinall seems really, really strange.
Especially the way he fought like Anthony Smith and like Dominic Reyes.
Yeah, exactly. He fought people who have done way less. Aspinall has in his career. And then on top of that, also, like I do understand what he's saying that like the Pereira fight will be a bigger fight in terms of like stardom, because I feel like Alex Pereira, I think him and Topuria at the moment are the two like hottest commodities the UFC have right now.
Oh, like that's just, who's top 3 right now?
Probably those 3: Jones, Topuria, and Pereira. And then like Aspinall's probably not even far behind that himself.
Well,
no, but I feel like
Aspinall I don't think is as big in America.
Yeah, but I'm saying is in like they're but obviously it depends on what sort of market you go to. I feel like you can bring Pereira though to any market, and the fans will love him. So like him, and then obviously John Jones, like just having that like GOAT status is going to bring that hype.
But Pereira is an easier fight for John Jones than Aspinall is.
Oh, absolutely, and I think it would do more for his legacy, as in Pereira, double champ, kickboxing world champion, etc., etc. It would be more hype to the fight, even like the way he like stares down. But I even think Aspinall versus Pereira is a massive fight in the future. Like I could definitely see Pereira moving up to heavyweight at some stage and trying to come triple champ status. And I think someone like Aspinall is actually like a good matchup for him. Someone who's willing to like trade on the feet at some stage, So like I think there's a nice little dance there to be played, but it feels like John Jones might sail off into the sunset with a win here.
You think so? Yeah. Even if Pereira called him out?
I think so, to be honest. I think it's just going to be what it's going to be. Like now,
John Jones is still young, though.
Do I think in a year's time? I think he's 37 now. I think in a year's time, Like, could he do one more fight against someone like a Pereira? Potentially so, but like I feel like the time is also now. I feel like if he's ever gonna fight Pereira, I think he needs to fight him sooner rather than later. Because Pereira has a tough fight in Ankalaev next, at light heavyweight, and like he's not guaranteed to win that. And no one's
booked.
No, but like that looks like it's going to be the next one.
Yeah, John Jones 37. Yeah,
And,
but Pereira's
people are-
37 as well.
Yeah, but he's much younger in the MMA game in terms of doing that, putting those rounds on the body. But also, I feel like no one's going to be like, give me Jones versus Ankalaev.
No. Nobody's saying give me Ankalaev.
So
Unless it's in Saudi.
look, 309. There's some obviously other interesting fights on the card.
You never said who you thought would win.
I think Jones is going to win. I think Jones by submission. We train with Gordon Ryan all the time as well.
It's hard to go against John Jones.
Yeah, I actually think Jones will win actually quite handily, if I'm being honest. No offense to eBay. And then obviously Oliveira versus Chandler. Looks like the winner of that might get a title shot lightweight after Arman Sarukian. What you make of that fight, Basman?
Well, they fought before, didn't they?
Yeah, and Chandler nearly knocked him out in the first round, and then Oliveira came back and he finished him instead. I think you're in for like 8 minutes of chaos one way or the other.
Yeah. I think it's actually a fantastic co-main event.
Yeah.
Chandler's been out of the cage. I was about to say ring. He's been out of the cage waiting for Conor. Like, what has that done to his psyche? Charles Oliveira, he's coming off a loss. And he's already beaten Chandler.
I think you just have to favor Oliveira in terms of what's happened recently. Like, obviously, Oliveira went off and won the belt. And I feel like he's still riding a wave of momentum or something at the moment. I feel like
he's a fan favorite.
Yeah. And I feel like Chandler, I don't know, he's already been knocked out by this man. Like, he's already, like you said, he was training for McGregor for so long, and that fight never happened. I just don't see it. He's also getting older as well. Like, Chandler must be nearly 40 at this stage, is he?
I'm looking at the ages here. I was going to interrupt you as per usual. Oliveira is 35. Chandler's 38.
Yeah, 38. It's quite old. And
he relies a lot on his speed as well.
Yeah. So look, I'm going to pick Oliveira to get the nod on this one. I think
submission.
Yeah, I think submission this time.
I don't think people really enjoy the shows when we agree on the same thing, man. You were meant to stick to the script and say the opposite to me, man.
Sorry, my bad.
You're very bad.
Elsewhere on the card, you have Bo Nickel versus Paul Craig. Bo Nickel, very heavy favourite. Chris Weidman is fighting Eric Anders. Chris Weidman has been very unsuccessful in his hometown, but it would be great to see him get the win. Jim Miller keeps on setting records, fighting again here on this card. But someone we're all really looking forward to see fighting is the Welsh gangster, Oban Elliott. Baz, how much has this man's star risen? And do you think some stage of the future, Oban Elliott and CM Punk will lift the World Heavyweight Tag Team titles?
I thought you were going to ask, do I think he'd be in the WWE? I was like, yeah, definitely.
Well, I just did, except...
Yeah, but the titles, like, you're pushing it, like, will this guy be world champion? So, like, the thing is, obviously watching Oban from Cage Warriors, like, some of the fighters on Cage Warriors have amazing personalities, the likes of your Harvick brothers, who were actually at a Middlesbrough football match there the weekend with both of them wearing with their world titles, which was very cool to see.
Riverside, okay.
It is the Riverside. No, Oban, like, just what a character. I remember we met him numerous times. Just so funny. One of them people who just sort of says whatever comes to mind, and he's almost like a bit of a free spirit. Then the entertainment value, the way he plays the game like a character. As in,
Very
like,
Triple H line there.
like, man, there's been a lot of WWE talk in this thing, but no, just the way he knows the sport is not just a sport; it's entertainment as well. Like, you need people to give a shit about your fights. He's arguably one of the most like pushed fighters that's gone from Cage Wars to the UFC in recent times. Like, he's getting more of a push than like Tom Aspinall got when he first arrived.
Yeah, definitely. He's definitely getting the right ropes, but he's
Who-
definitely created a lot of those opportunities himself.
Yeah, but who would have got a bigger push than him recently that's gone from Cage Wars to the UFC?
What, Paddy Pimblett?
Well, Paddy is the big one. Yeah, he's actually getting more. I think he's actually getting more of a push than Ian Gary when Ian Gary first arrived. I know Ian got a big one on the Irish side, but
Going to the, hard to tell.
What about okay, going to all these WWE events, like getting?
Oh no, definitely, yeah, but like that's him making those moves. You know what I mean? So like he obviously has the TKO in, and then he can get like good seating at these shows. You know what I mean? So like he's using it to his advantage, and like obviously the WWE fan base and the MMA fan base, like there's a lot of intertwines there. Like a lot of people will follow both. So therefore, why not include that fan base and then also set up a potential career for yourself after the fact?
Do you know
WWE. So
he smashed it when he went on the Ariel show and was talking about all the WWE fights and like what he knows about wrestling, and that Ariel's fan base is a huge WWE crossover.
Yeah, but also like him even posting pictures of himself or videos of himself backstage with CM Punk and Triple H. You know what I mean? Like they're two of the biggest stars in the wrestling industry. Like you don't have to watch wrestling to know who those two are. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So very, very impressive. And obviously CM Punk, former UFC welterweight himself.
Actually, I actually forgot he fought in the UFC.
Yeah.
Do I think they become tag team champions?
I'm here for it.
The trajectory opens on. I don't know what they could do with him, but people with the biggest personalities tend to get the biggest opportunities.
Maybe we'll put out posts and ask people, do you think these two will be a successful tag team? And then maybe we ask, like, what other two MMA stars could you see being a successful tag team?
That's a great question. If anyone's listening right now, let us know who would be a great tag team. Well, like Brock Lesnar and like Daniel Cormier.
Well, they don't like each other, so like that's not gonna work.
Yeah, but you don't have to like someone to do something with them.
Yeah, that's true. Look, me and you.
We hate each other. These two.
I love it.
Man, you meant to stick to the script, man. Owen Elliott. Make sure to he's one of the first fights in the night, so make sure to tune into that because he cuts a great promo, and that's what we love. Ross, that's obviously on Saturday night. Is there anything else you want to say about UFC 309 this weekend?
No, I think that was mainly it. Like, I think it's like overall, like it's I don't feel like it's as big a card as some of the other New York cards, but obviously, like it probably doesn't need to be when you have John Jones fighting on. People are going to see John Jones, and I think it could be wrong now, but obviously John Jones is from New York, and I think it's his first time fighting in New York. So I actually think that means it's going to be his retirement party. He wants to fight in New York before he hangs up the gloves.
Do you think Donald Trump would be there?
Sure, why not?
Man, that's the president. You voted for him, man.
Yeah, mailed in my vote.
Yeah, I voted for Harris, so that's why we don't get along anymore. For people listening.
Yeah, but you only did that because you thought she was ready to jar Harris.
Look, whoever comes into the show, we're loyal to them till the day we die. Then look, there's more fights this weekend. This like the amount of scraps that are going on this weekend. Jesus. Cage Wars 180 London. That's on Friday night as well. So that'll actually be on before the Katie Taylor and the Katie Taylor fight on Netflix. There's actually 2 title fights on the card, and there's going to be 3 Irish representatives on the card as well. Like every week, make sure to check out our Instagram page. We promote the fighters and we put polls out asking which fight are people most interested in watching. And obviously the 3 Irish fights, but I was thinking before we get into their fights, I think arguably the biggest fight in the card is actually going to be in the lightweight division. Next Generation's Adam Cullen against Tobias Harrella.
Yeah, well, I think to me that looks like a number 1 contender fight. Like it's gonna have massive eyes on it. Both are like extremely aggressive in terms of their fighting styles. I feel like it's going to finish with someone looking up at the canvas and, staring at those bright lights. I think this is going to be finished. And I think I wouldn't be surprised if it finished early as well. I think both guys come out for the finish and they're looking for that finish early and often. So I think it's going to be extraordinary high pace. And I think we're going to get a highlight reel from one of the two lads.
That's probably going to be on the feet the whole time as well.
Very high possibility. Obviously, Adam Cullen has excellent jiu-jitsu, so maybe his game plan might be to take it to the ground. You don't know, but those two guys both know how to finish on the feet.
Exactly. Then just jumping into the Irish part of this, Paddy McCurry returns and he's taking on Ty Palmer. Ross, Paddy McCurry in the middleweight division. He was just on Tough. He was on the show a few weeks ago discussing Tough. If you want to go back and watch that, make sure, or listen to it, make sure to check that out because that was good crack. But Paddy, Ross, it's good to see Paddy back.
Yeah, absolutely. Look, Paddy McCurry is definitely one of my favourite fighters to watch. He has excellent hands, throws in a few flying knees as well. Got some unbelievable submission attacks, predominantly from his back that we've seen. But look, he's really, really exciting. He's got some unbelievable finishes and he's just dangerous at all aspects of the fight. I think he's a top level prospect that in 2, 3, 4 years time, he's going to be in the top 15 of whatever division he's in, whether he's in PFL or Bellator or whether he's in the UFC.
Then Compound Martial Arts' very own Emer Darcy is back. She's taking on Daniela Sanchez at 132 catchweight bout.
Yeah, obviously Emer's naturally a flyweight. She nearly knocked my laptop over there.
You're just that excited.
That excited. I was actually talking to her coach, and her coach was saying maybe she could make strawweight. Well, it'd be interesting to see. But look, her hands have just been absolute dynamite so far since she's turned the pro ranks. She's finishing people like in the first round, not a bother to her. She just looked a touch above the level of competition she's fought so far, and I feel like she will be again. She was sort of maybe later to start in her amateur career, age-wise, but she seems to have jumped straight in there. She went straight in with some of the best girls in the country, like Kerry Ann Vernon, etc. And she's really held her own and then some. And I think she's definitely one to watch out for. It'll be interesting to see if maybe we could see some of her ground game potentially, to see how that's evolved and see is she as dangerous on the floor as she is with her hands.
Yeah. Just before we get into the title fights, another fight to keep an eye on is Alexander Loof against Wesley Moya. Wesley Moya recently just defeated Lewis McGrillen. Yeah, and then Alexander Loof had arguably potentially one of the best fights Cage Warriors had this year against Luke Riley. Like go onto UFC Fight Pass and check out that fight. It could be even on YouTube. It's absolutely crazy. That was probably the fight of the year, wasn't it?
Yeah, absolutely. It was an absolutely insane fight. Really, really was. Loof knows how to bring it. Absolutely, he is an absolute monster when it comes to on the feet, and his chin is tough as hell. And also, he actually lost a split decision to Quadrian, who fights for the bantamweight title in the main event on the prize fighter on the last prize fighter for Cage Warriors. So he was one judge away from fighting for the belt himself. So he'll obviously be looking to right that wrong and fight for the belt. And then obviously Wesley Moya as well. He actually fought in the prize fighter as well, and he also I'm pretty sure lost to Quadrian in the semi-final of that night. So these guys are going to be out there to make a statement and try and get a title shot.
Then we'll go into the co-main event. Andy Clamp is taking on TKF legend James Webb for the light heavyweight title.
Yeah, obviously James Webb, Team KF, he was a former middleweight champion, 10 wins, 7 finishes. Andy Clamp has 13 wins, and 12 of those finishes are in the first round. So Andy Clamp is very, very dangerous early on. Look, I'm not going to pick against James Webb. That's where my loyalties lie. But he's gonna have to fight a near perfect fight to get the job done. Obviously his training with Tom Aspinall might see him moving up a few gears and up a few levels. Maybe he's picked up a few tips to get the job done early, aka Tom Aspinall style, and see how that goes. But what an absolute cracking co-main event.
Yeah, and then in the main event for the bantamweight title, Liam Gittins is taking on Shirzad Quadrian. Liam Gittins is also a next-gen fighter. Ross, what are you expecting from this fight?
I think it's going to be probably a 25-minute. I think Liam Gittins is as tough as they come. His fight against Rhys McKeown was an absolute war. And both men absolutely exhausted come the end of the fight. I think, he is someone who really, really brings it right up into the end. I feel like he's constantly looking for that finish still. Like, obviously, when he fought Hernandez, he got a rear naked choke in the 5th round. And, it's hard to get those finishes later on in the fight, especially in the 5th round. So he's dangerous right until he's out there. Obviously, Quadrian is after coming off when the prize fighter. He got 50 grand in the back pocket. He is someone who, funny enough, I just touched on it. He obviously beat Wesley Moya and Luke in the same night, so that's nothing to be stumped at. But he actually also lost to Wesley Moya, sorry, not Damien, Wesley Moya previously. So it's going to be a very interesting fight. I think these are two of the best bantamweights in the division, and I'm looking forward to it. I'm sure Max Lally will be watching with his eyes peeled come this weekend.
Do you think with a win here, Gittins could get a chance of fighting? I know the Contender Series isn't on at the moment, but maybe getting that UFC call-up?
Potentially so. I think for Gittins, with the way of the landscape is working, obviously if UFC come back to the UK, I think they're definitely going to be looking at sort of Liverpool or Manchester again. Hopefully they do a fight night, how they can fight at a normal time. And look, I think there's a high chance UFC fight night in Manchester. Paddy Pimblett headlines it, and Paddy Pimblett's headlining it. I feel like there'd be more pull for him to get some next gen teammates on the card.
There's almost too many UK fighters to get on these cards anymore.
Yeah, well, Irish. I think that's why sometimes you almost have to do, unfortunately, some UK versus Ireland or some UK versus UK fighters. You know what? I think the fight to make will be Caelan Loughran versus Liam Gittins at a UFC fight night in Manchester, especially considering the back and forth Paddy and Caelan had on the bus. I think you have two of Liverpool's two premier gyms going toe to toe. And I think, former Cage Warriors bantamweight champion versus current Cage Warriors bantamweight champion. I think that is the fight to make if Liam Gittins wins and gets on into the UFC.
That'd be very interesting. A bit of cow bomb, bit of next gen beef, man. That definitely have a lot of people tuning in from this. A lot of scales is tuning in. Ross, just before we get into Sunday. Cage Gladiators, Irish MMA is back, baby. Over the weekend, MMA Corks, Jack McGuire got the submission victory at Octagon. First of all, what did you make of the finish by Jack? If you haven't seen the finish, check it out. It's on our Instagram wall. But what did you make of the finish, Ross?
Yeah, obviously he was eating some massive shots, and he pulled off almost a Hail Mary-esque triangle. Got the job done. It was it just goes to show how tough he was. He was moved up, I think, 2 weight classes to take this fight. He seems game as hell. He's a very unique character. He's had social media. He's deleted social media. He looks miserable doing a press conference. He doesn't want to seem to, he gets photo taking, that guy. You know what I mean? He has no interest in the media side of the game. But when it comes to that door locking, he gets in there and he fights. He's as game as anything. And I think, I think MMA Cork are probably underappreciated on this island. I think they're probably underrated as a gym. I think they have some top talent in the country, and I think in 2 or 3 years' time, I think people are going to look at MMA Cork and go, that's a great gym. Obviously, Brian Mannon's doing bits, Jack McGuire's doing bits. John Mitchell's originally from that gym, Paul Buckley from that gym. You know what I mean? MMA Cork has a small but mighty roster that's probably only growing, and they probably have a shed load of hungry amateurs on the rise as well.
Very well supported club as well.
Yeah, very well supported, very well. And shout out to Barry O'Callaghan, who seems to be doing great stuff with Alpha Management down there in Cork.
Yeah. Then after that fight, Will Fleury, it was announced that he is going to be fighting for the light heavyweight title. Then when you posted the clip of the guy he's fighting, I actually got me off the top of my head.
Carlos Formola.
Like he would they had a back and forth on the mic in the middle of the cage. I think that it was good. They got them to go the head to head as they announced that fight. That's going to be on near the end of the year. I think they said the 29th of December. In Prague. So that should be interesting to see. So we'll keep you up to date on that as well. Ross, I know we touched on it earlier. Amy Scully, world champion,
2-time world champion. She's done it twice now. I do like that they have belts now. I think that's cool. I think it's a nice belt. It's like a amateur version, the like UFC belt, if I was to call it anything. Look, you alluded to this earlier. Amy Scully is doing everything right. From if you're looking to make the transition from amateur to pro, she is someone who you can follow the blueprint of. She seems to be grafting all the time. Her attitude seems to be spot on. Her nutrition seems to be spot on. She's always in the gym. Like I say, she understands the social media aspect of it, promoting herself. She puts out great content, day vlogs, even her like phrase, follow me on my journey to get better 1% every day. You know what I mean? Like the fact that I know that's what she says. Now maybe it's slightly different. It's not verbatim, but you know what I mean? The fact that I know like that's her like slogan.
1%, baby.
Yeah, 1% better every day, baby. You know what I mean? Like I suppose me and you are already fans of her, if that makes sense. We're already fans of what she's doing. Like I enjoy watching her content, and I think she seems to have a really lovable, infectious personality. She seems to be someone who is resoundingly loved across the MMA world. I see, people in her own gym shouting her out. I saw Sean O'Bannon shouting her out. You know what I mean? She seems to be someone who is very, very well liked, and seems to be someone who's going to go very, very far in the sport. I think I'm not too sure what age she is. I think the only thing I hope for her is that she can I know she won an atomweight. I hope she can beef up and get to strawweight, because it's notoriously hard to build your career as an atomweight as opposed to building your career as a strawweight. Is a much easier feat. There's a lot more avenues and doors open.
How can you forget the haircut as well?
Yeah, the haircut is insane. She has like a shaved head with like it's like a green and black football or something. I don't know what way to describe it. I hope she's not insulted by that, but it's a very unique style that makes her stand out. And look, I think it's cool as hell and suits her personality to the max. Like she's a superstar.
She is. Like that's the thing. She seems to be doing it all. It's almost like that's why like Sean O'Malley came up in the UFC. Sort of that. Like this is like.
Yeah, but she stands out with. I don't know. There's something very wholesome about her. You know what I mean? Like it's as if she's, everyone's little sister that you're rooting for. That's the only way I could describe it. She seems like, for being such a tough badass, she like speaks so softly and so nicely. You know what I mean? And she just comes across. Even the few interviews I've seen her doing on IMAF, she looks so friendly to everyone over there.
Yeah.
So look, shout out to Amy Scully, 2-time world champion. Hope you're enjoying the buzz, and can't wait to see getting back to being better 1% every day.
Yeah, especially the way she beat someone in the final who she previously lost to as well.
Yeah, exactly. And I think she's only something like 4 or 5-1 officially as an amateur. So like she's someone that might eventually start struggling to get fights. She could be almost, the female version of a Max Lally type thing where people are like, I don't want to fight that person.
I don't want to fight that person.
Yeah,
But,
exactly.
Ross, this weekend we alluded to Sunday. So you have Cage Warriors and you have the boxing on Friday. You have UFC 309 on the Saturday, and then on the Sunday, Cage Gladiators makes his first appearance on Irish soil, and it's being hosted by Danny Core. Ross, in the main event, we have a professional fight between Jack Core versus Mikey McCoy. How much are you looking forward to this event, man?
Yeah, absolutely. It's great to have another show on the island of Ireland. Look, Jack Shore is someone who
Jack Core.
Jack Core, sorry. Did I say Jack Shore?
Jack Shore, yeah. Oban's mate.
Yeah, sorry. Jack Core is someone who grew up fighting. It's in his DNA. It's part of his family. His entire family fights. All his brothers fight. He is someone who really embodies the being of mixed martial arts. And his father, Danny, who owns the gym, is an unsung hero of Irish MMA. He's someone who really fights for the regulations within the sport. And he's someone who fights for the betterment of Irish MMA. So I think having someone like that run an event is absolutely brilliant. And I think, Jack Core is someone who, since turning pro, he looks very, very dangerous when he beat Aaron Brogan at Chaos before. So he looks lethal on the feet, and now he fights Mike McCoy in the main event of Cage Gladiators. So look, I'm looking forward to the show. I think, as we said, great to have another Irish show on the island, and great to see the Core family putting on a spectacle for everyone to see.
Yeah. There's also his brother Emma Core is taking on Alex McCook. Ross, is there any other fights you should tell the people to look out for on this card?
Yeah, well, I think the card across the board is always very good to see. But someone who I was really impressed with at Akuma was CJ Armstrong. CJ Armstrong looked really, really good in his last fight. Obviously, he's a light heavyweight as well, which is something that we don't get to see too much of at sort of in Ireland. I think sort of middleweight is as big as it sort of gets, but he won that, I think, by third round TKO. So like that's something that I'm definitely looking forward to seeing. And then there's another man on the card who's fighting at heavyweight called Matthew Poore. So I'm looking forward to seeing some big dogs get in there. He's out of FAI, so hopefully that fight's still going ahead. Like, I'm looking forward to seeing some big dogs. We don't get to see a lot of big dogs in the amateur scene, Basmo.
No, but another fight to look out for: Kieran Maskey against Shay Mackin as well. Ross, that is Sunday, so like we're going to be working overtime this week as per usual. Very typical. Just looking at next week, Chaos Fighting Championship is back. Cage Warriors 181 Newcastle, and Reese McKee's very own Fight Project is going down as well. That's next week, and we'll be also recapping all the action from this week. Ross, massive news came out last Monday. Conor McGregor was actually up in court on the Monday. People were sort of asking us, what do we think of this? Myself and Ross, we set up a Energized MMA group, combat sports group, that we put stuff in there to keep people updated. If you would like to be put in the group, just send us a message and we'll add you in. At the moment, we actually don't have any fighters in it. It's just MMA fans, and no offense to the fighters, But we were watching and we were sort of like, I can't believe what is going on, what we're hearing. And then I wanted to get more information on it. So I saw Nicola Talon's Crime World started putting out podcasts on it, which is very insightful. They're 4 episodes deep at the moment. And as the story's unraveled, I've gotten more and more confused, but more and more intrigued as what the fuck is actually going on. So they're due back in court on Tuesday. This show's coming out on Tuesday, so the Nicola Talon podcast will be out then. I think the court is meant to be running for 2 weeks straight, and then once we hear all, we'll give like our full synopsis on the issue at hand.
Yeah, I think it's obviously a very sensitive issue. We don't have all the details. Details going to play out in court.
Yeah, we weren't there, by the way. I know people thought we were there drinking Forge Irish Stout, but we were not there.
No, we definitely weren't. Look, it was obviously a very serious issue, and look, it's going to be played out, and the jury will make a decision on it, and we'll just have to see how things play, because it's obviously very serious allegations, and it's not to be messed with. So
yeah, and one thing as well for people listening, like the Irish MMA scene and the Irish combat sports scene is bigger than one person as well. And the unfortunate issue is, say if Conor does something, it goes all over the papers, and then everyone gets the backlash of it. Whereas like I've been speaking to people about it that never would never be really interested in combat sports, but like look at the likes of your Amy Scully there. Like there's people like that. Like look at the likes of Sean O'Bannon in the UFC. Like there's so many people in this community that make it very special from every gym. Obviously we can name and like thousands of people, but there is more to the sport than just Conor McGregor's name. And there's more and more people coming and doing great and fantastic things. And that's why we love being part of this. Obviously, we got more into the sport because of what Conor did back in the day when he blew the roof off the Tree Arena. But times change, and we change. We're doing this 9 years now, and we expect to do it another 9 years. That's if Ross can keep up with me. I'm quite fast these days. But look, we love this community, and we appreciate all the support and all the support you give us as well. So we would appreciate if you do like, subscribe. If you want to leave a comment, leave a comment. If you don't, you don't. But do us a favor, tell a friend. Ross, anything else you want to say before we wrap things up, bud?
Nah, but you're getting emotional here.
I'm crying behind these glasses.
Yeah, if you do want to support us, we'd really, really appreciate that. But as always, stay energized.
Energized Show, up the Irish. Been sussing you guys a couple of times. I've seen a couple of clips. I think you've done some interviews with Dylan Moran and that I saw. So keep going, keep up the good work, guys.